making headlines tonight. The Prime Minister urges world leaders to make draft vaccination targets real and facilitate vaccine production around the globe. Stunning footage from the Canary Islands shows the full extent of lava flows on La Palma. And two boxers completely lose it at a promotional media event 6 weeks before their title bout in Las Vegas. This is the Daily Roundup on the EAC News channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Andrew Barnes-Roberts. Prime Minister Hun Sen has urged countries around the world to turn draft vaccination targets into real action and enable the production of vaccines around the world. His written remarks were submitted to Wednesday night's global COVID-19 summit hosted by US President Joe Biden on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York. In his remarks, the Prime Minister told world leaders that no one country can stop the pandemic alone, and stopping it would require a sincere, responsible, and humanitarian manner without any hidden political agenda. The Prime Minister has committed Cambodia to the draft targets, which include vaccinating 70% of the world's population by next year. He says the kingdom is of the view that all countries must work together to realize this goal. To do so, he says, vaccines should be recognized as a public good and be made more affordable so that all countries have access to them. He called on governments around the world to enable the production of vaccines in more countries through financing and providing incentives for investment. The Prime Minister also appealed to wealthier nations not to hoard vaccine doses. As host of the summit, the United States has promised to buy 500 million more doses of vaccine to donate to other countries. President Joe Biden is under increasing pressure to share its supply with the rest of the world. He told the summit that this is an all-hands-on-deck crisis, pointing out that the pandemic has already claimed almost 5 million lives. The additional vaccines donated by the US will start being shipped in January. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres also addressed the summit. He says global health security has failed and has urged wealthier countries to do more and fast. He made the point that more than 5.7 billion vaccine doses have been administered globally, but 73% of those have found their way to only 10 countries. High-income countries have administered 61 times more doses per person than low-income countries. Just 3% of Africans have been vaccinated. He says the world's vaccine production must be doubled and that 70% of the world's population must be vaccinated in the first half of next year.
បន្ទាប់ពីការចូលបិណ្ឌមួយចូលបិណ្ឌពីរនេះយើងបានឃើញថាវត្តមួយចំនួនបានផ្ទុះឡើងនៅ COVID-19 រួចជាស្រេចទៅហើយ
Prime Minister Hun Sen has asked the religious sector to consider cancelling Pichumben or limit the gathering of people in pagodas in a voice message on Thursday afternoon. This was following the discovery of COVID-19 patients in several pagodas across the country. Two of the pagodas that was hit by COVID-19 are Phnom Penh's Nek 1, located in Tolkork district, with 3 people tested positive, and Ben 1 at Wat Champok Aik in Chbar Ampao district, with 45 cases discovered. The Prime Minister has asked the Ministry of Cults and Religions to hold a meeting with the monk leaders and the Ministry of Health to consider the cancellation of Pichumben or else limit the people gathering in pagodas.
ស្ថានភាពនេះបានបង្កើតជាការកង្វល់ដ៏ធំរបស់ខ្ញុំបកករណាខ្ញុំក្នុងនាមជាប្រមុខនៃរាជរដ្ឋាភិបាលហើយកំពុងដឹកនាំការប្រយុទ្ធប្រឆាំងនឹង COVID-19 ប្រសិនបើមានការចម្លងបែបនេះវាច្បាស់ណាស់ថាបញ្ហា COVID នឹងកើតឡើងបើសិនជាត្រឹមតែ20ឬ 50% នៃវត្តទូទាំងប្រទេសយើងនឹងមានកន្លែងឆ្លងរហូតដល់ជាង 2000 វត្តហើយការឆ្លងនោះវានឹងរាលដាលធ្ងន់ធ្ងរចូលទៅតាមសហគមន៍គ្មានទីចន្លោះនោះទេនេះបញ្ហានេះខ្ញុំបកករណាខ្ញុំសូមសម្ដេចព្រះសង្ឃរាជទាំងពីរគណៈ សម្ដេចព្រះសង្ឃនាយកសូមព្រះមេត្តាពិចារណាតើគួរគប្បីធ្វើយ៉ាងណានៅក្នុងកលៈទេសៈដ៏លំបាកនេះ
In response to Prime Minister Hun Sen, the Municipal of Cults and Religions immediately released a statement announcing to ban gathering of people in Phnom Penh pagodas during Pichimben. It says that the preventative measures against COVID-19, such as the 3-dose and 3-don'ts, must be strictly implemented during this Khmer religious festival.
Government says 3 million doses of Sinovac it has bought from China will be delivered on Friday. Another 3 million doses it has purchased are expected at Phnom Penh International on Monday. The doses will be used to complete the initial vaccinations of both adults and children, as well as for the country's booster shot campaign. EAC news reporter Yuri Matosko has the story.
The kingdom expects a total of 9 million doses to have arrived in the next few weeks. 3 million doses are arriving on Friday morning, with a further 3 million on Monday. Another 3 million doses donated by China are expected to be delivered before the end of October. Cambodia has put at least 1 dose of vaccine into the arms of almost 100% of its adult population and 90% of its teenage population. Almost 75% of the country's total population is fully vaccinated. The Ministry of Health says the 9 million new doses will help speed up the vaccination of children aged 6 to 11, with their second doses scheduled to start next month. The booster shot campaign for the general population will start on the 11th of October in Phnom Penh. Government announced this week that Sinovac will be used for the third dose.
Means the kingdom's number of active cases has more than doubled since the end of August. 5,302 patients are currently receiving treatment. The Ministry of Health confirmed 638 new COVID-19 cases on Thursday. This is against 479 recoveries. 22 more Cambodians died of COVID-19 overnight. The new numbers take the kingdom's total number of cases to 106,619. The death toll has reached 2,176. The number of patients treated successfully has climbed to 99,134. High-risk businesses and those selling alcohol in the capital have little choice but to hang on for another 14 days. The Phnom Penh Capital Administration announced on Wednesday afternoon that its administrative measures were being extended through Thursday, the 7th of October. By the time that day rolls around, it will have been 8 weeks since alcohol could be served or gatherings of more than 15 people could be held in Phnom Penh. EAC news reporter Yuri Matosko went along to the capital's Basak Lane, once teeming with partying expats and tourists.
This week, the Minister of Tourism told local airlines and hotels to get ready for a reopening soon for fully vaccinated tourists. It was a ray of hope for establishments around the kingdom, especially in Phnom Penh. But hope turned to disappointment on Wednesday when the capital's alcohol and gathering bans were extended for 2 more weeks. The famous street of Basak Lane, owns a bustling area full of locals and foreigners partying and drinking, is now eerily quiet, with most bars and restaurants temporarily closed. We asked some business owners how they're dealing with the latest extension.
Actually, my business is doing a bit better than in general businesses, but still, of course, we are kind of suffering because we don't sell any alcohol. So our takings are a bit less than before. And people, of course, are avoiding gathering, and we don't let them to come too many people into the restaurants. So 2 more weeks is gonna be hard, but I hope Cambodia is gonna sort this problem out, because after Singapore is the second highest vaccination campaign in Cambodia. So I hope everything's gonna be fine soon.
A bar owner told us, though, that he's been struggling more with his finances. He just opened his new establishment, but we'll have to wait a few more weeks to see patrons coming in for a drink.
It's not easy, we have a difficult time. Not just us, not just me, for everyone in the whole world, for the business like in Phnom Penh. So we hope something's gonna get better. But now another 2 weeks again and again and again. For us, it's really like not happy about this. We understanding because of COVID time. but we also very struggle because if we cannot fight about this, we cannot make our own thing. It's gonna be like more difficult and difficult, and we have to do it. This is not fair for us, you know. We're really not happy, but what we can do.
The latest extension to the prohibition on alcohol in gatherings will expire on Thursday, 7 October. Bars and restaurants have been holding out for 8 weeks. They hope the next 14 days will be the last of prohibition on gatherings and alcohol sales. Yuri Matosco, EAC News, Basek Lane, Phnom Penh.
A Cambodian woman living in China has been rescued by local police after using TikTok to appeal to Prime Minister Hun Sen for help. The video message first surfaced on Monday. In it, she claimed to be suffering domestic violence at the hands of her Chinese husband. On Wednesday, she was taken to a place of safety by Chinese police. 25-year-old At Sopiak took to TikTok, saying she had been living in China for the past 4 years and had been unable to contact her family. She said her husband was treating her like a servant. She asked the Prime Minister directly to please help get her back to Cambodia. The Prime Minister was watching. He instructed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, as well as the Cambodian Embassy, to assist. They requested intervention by Chinese police. This has been confirmed by Secretary of State in the Ministry of Interior and Permanent Vice President of the National Committee for Combating Human Trafficking, Chu Bun-eng. While Sopiak has yet to arrive home, her mother has been informed that she is safe and will soon be back in the kingdom. Her husband is now under investigation by Chinese police. Sopiak's case is not an isolated one. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says over the first 6 months of this year, 231 Cambodian women have been rescued in China from husbands who had posed as marriage brokers, lied about their wealth, and used the women as servants. A truck driver has been arrested following this week's accident in Kandal that claimed the lives of 3 people. 7 other people have been hospitalized and all are in a serious condition. There was another truck accident on Wednesday in Sihanoukville, but fortunately, no one was killed.
Police are investigating claims of reckless driving. The driver of this truck allegedly collided with a motorcycle and plunged into a shop at Kandal's Prek Tamak Bridge. The driver has been identified as 23-year-old Puan Makra. He was allegedly speeding across the bridge when he lost control and collided with the motor that was carrying 4 passengers. The motor driver, his 47-year-old wife, and their 12-year-old son were killed. Their 7-year-old daughter sustained serious injuries. After hitting the motor, the truck then rammed into a fruit vendor stall, severely injuring a further 6 people. On Wednesday, 5 people were hospitalized in Sihanoukville after another accident involving a speeding truck. It collided with another vehicle and then crashed into a house in Village 2, Sankat 2. Those hospitalized are said to be in a stable condition.
Cambodians mark Constitution Day on Friday. The public holiday is held every year on the 24th of September. It was on that day back in 1993 when the historic document was signed by King Father Norodom Sihanouk. By signing the Constitution, he formally established the Kingdom of Cambodia. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has more.
After a long, dark history, Cambodia finally became a constitutional monarchy on 24 September 1993. That was the day that Prince Norodom Sihanouk signed the constitution and became King of Cambodia. Under the constitution, the king is head of state, but the elected National Assembly has legislative power. The prime minister is appointed by the king from representatives of the political party with the largest number of seats in the assembly. Just how important that it is to the Kingdom of Cambodia has been explained by the Secretary of State at the Office of the Council of Ministers, Keo Remy, who is also the president of the Cambodian Human Rights Committee.
ខ្ញុំសូមជម្រាបជូនថារដ្ឋធម្មនុញ្ញនេះមានសារៈសំខាន់ណាស់ដែលយើងដឹងទាំងអស់គ្នាថាច្បាប់រដ្ឋធម្មនុញ្ញជាច្បាប់កម្ពុជារបស់ប្រទេសហើយដែលយើងមិននឹកស្មានថារដ្ឋធម្មនុញ្ញយើងព្រះរាជាណាចក្រកម្ពុជាដែលជាព្រះរាជាណាចក្រទី2អាចនិយាយថាទី2 ដោយសារមិនដោយសារចង់និយាយថារបបរាជានិយមតាំងពីជំនាន់បកូនណាត្រូវបានផ្ដួលរំលំដោយរបបលន់នល់ក៏ប៉ុន្តែត្រឡប់មកវិញនៅក្នុងឆ្នាំ93ដែលមានអិសរាជជនយើងអាចនិយាយបានថានេះក្នុងរយៈពេលតាំងពី93មកទល់សប្តាហ៍ថ្ងៃនេះជិត30ឆ្នាំហើយអញ្ចឹងក្នុងរយៈពេលនៃអាយុកាលនៃរដ្ឋធម្មនុញ្ញរបស់យើងនេះគឺជាកម្លាំងញើសឈាមរបស់អិសរាជជនយើងនៃគ្រប់ភាគីទាំងអស់
Known as Marshal Lon Nol, he was the general who served as Prime Minister of Cambodia twice, between 1966 and 1967, and again between 1969 and 1971. He led the military coup of 1970 against Prince Norodom Sihanouk, abolished the monarchy, and established the short-lived Khmer Republic. He was the commander-in-chief of the Khmer National Armed Forces during the Cambodian Civil War. After the Khmer Rouge captured Phnom Penh, he fled to the United States. Remy has also added that after the Paris Peace Agreement in 1991 and the Constitution signed in 1993, the human rights situation in Cambodia is so much better.
យើងចាប់ផ្ដើមនិយាយពីរំដោះពី79សម្ដេចលោកបានមានប្រសាសន៍ហើយថាប្រជាជនខ្មែរយើងនៅសល់តែ5លាននាក់នៅសល់ជីវិតដែលរស់នៅក្រោយពីឆ្នាំ1979រំដោះឥឡូវពី5លាននាក់ឡើងមករហូតដល់ជិត16លាននាក់ជិត16លាននាក់អញ្ចឹងមានន័យថាចំនួនប្រជាជនកើនមានន័យថាសិទ្ធិរស់រានមានជីវិតត្រូវបានធានាអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំសូមជម្រាបជូនថាស្ថានភាពសិទ្ធិមនុស្សមានលក្ខណៈល្អប្រសើរគឺទី1យើងនិយាយឲ្យច្បាស់ថាអនុលោមទៅតាមច្បាប់ផងយើងរដ្ឋធម្មនុញ្ញយើងគឺគាំពៀនៅសិទ្ធិមនុស្សដែលបានចែងគោរពនៅកតិកាសញ្ញាសិទ្ធិសញ្ញាធម្មនុញ្ញរបស់អង្គការសហជីវជាតិទាក់ទងទៅនឹងការគោរពមនុស្សសិទ្ធិមនុស្សពិការភាពសិទ្ធិស្ត្រីកុមារលក្ខណៈគឺនៅក្នុងនឹងទាំងអស់ហើយអញ្ចឹងត្រង់ថាខ្ញុំជម្រាបជូនខ្លីៗគឺតាក់ទងទៅស្ថានភាពលក្ខណៈប្រសើរសម្ដេចតេជោលោកប្រកាន់នៅអ្វីដែលសំខាន់បំផុតគឺរក្សាសន្តិភាព
While Cambodia will commemorate its 28th Constitution Day on Friday, Remy has urged the country's people and its leaders to respect the Constitution, which he says has been the result of the blood and sweat sacrificed by Cambodia's forefathers. The kingdom's constitution was adopted 28 years ago, after decades of civil war and genocide. It has since provided unity and harmony among Cambodia's people, who are now enjoying their liberty after the devastating rot by the Khmer Rouge. Reyes Soko, EAC News, Phnom Penh.
Now for a look at news making international headlines this Thursday, the 23rd of September.
At least 10 bullets hit the car of a senior aide and a longtime friend of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Wednesday outside the capital, Kiev. Police say it was an assassination attempt. 19 bullet holes could be seen on the driver's side of the car. Sergei Shefir was left unharmed, but his driver has been admitted to hospital. He says the assassination attempt was designed to intimidate the Ukrainian leadership. The president, who is in New York for the UN General Assembly, says he did not know for now who was responsible for the attack, which has shocked the country's political elite. President Zelensky came to power on a promise to take on the country's oligarchs and fight corruption. His advisor says the assassination attempt could well be a result of that campaign.
Drone footage captures the streams of lava from La Palma's Cumbre Vieja volcano approaching the village of Tuduque. Since erupting on Sunday, the volcano's lava has consumed at least 150 homes and forced thousands to flee. Technical Director of the Special Civil Protection and Emergency Response Plan for Volcanic Risk says that the lava will continue to advance, but they cannot predict if it will actually reach the sea. The lava's speed has slowed. Experts had originally predicted it would hit the Atlantic Ocean late on Monday, potentially causing explosion and sending out clouds of toxic gas.
And hours after showing his middle finger to protesters in New York, Brazil's Health Minister Marcelo Queiroga tested positive for COVID-19. He would just accompany President Jair Bolsonaro to the UN General Assembly. Video shows the Brazilian president and his health minister leaving a meeting. Protesters call their names and show their middle fingers, with the health minister responding in kind. The video was taken just after they met with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Brazil president is a vaccine skeptic and has defied UN rules that asked all those attending the assembly to be vaccinated. Brazil's health minister is the second member of the country's delegation in New York to test positive.
Stay with the Daily Roundup. Coming up after the break, a look at your sports news. EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EAC News' audience is growing. Our YouTube channel has over 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube. It's given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EAC News' hard work and incredible achievement. She says we brought a unique voice and style to the world, but have also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to YouTube and search for EAC News. Subscribers get alerts when the Daily Roundup is premiering and live events are streaming. Get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. The EAC News channel on YouTube. Cambodia Made Clear. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia Made Clear. Boxers Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant came out swinging at their joint media briefing on Tuesday. It was all part of the build-up to their November the 6th bout in Las Vegas. Eyeball to eyeball. Canelo Alvarez is on the left of your screen. Caleb Plant is on the right. Amid the face-off, the muttering started, and then Alvarez snapped.
Don't get paid.
Minutes before they traded punches, they traded words.
Again, I don't need you guys to believe in me. I've been doing it my whole life. So mark my words, November 6th, you will hear the words, and the new undisputed super middleweight. The only difference is right after that, you'll hear the words, and still undefeated. Mark my words. That's funny? You think that's funny? A little bit. Yeah? Well, keep laughing. Okay, because you know when you're going to find out? Real soon. And you know when you're going to find out? The same time everybody else found out. And you know when that was? You know when they found out? When it was too late. That's when they found out. And that's exactly when you're going to find out. Mark my words.
I'm just going to say something. You know my level. And you will see November 6th. You're not going to find out. I promise you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. See you November 6th. You know what I do. And you know what is come to with this guy, November 6th. Thank you.
Both fighters have been advised to now save it for the ring. They square off at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas on the 6th of November. The winner will be the undisputed super middleweight world champion. Colombia international James Rodriguez has joined Qatar's Al Rayyan from Premier League Everton. Neither club has disclosed the length of his new contract or the transfer fee, but Everton aren't going to miss him too much.
The 30-year-old midfielder's future at Everton had looked uncertain ever since they appointed manager Rafa Benitez to replace Carlo Ancelotti. Rodriguez joined Everton from Real Madrid last September, looking to revive his career in England. But he managed just 6 goals from 26 games. He did better at Real, scoring 37 goals across 2 spells after joining them on the back of stellar performances at the 2014 World Cup, where he won the Golden Boot. But he struggled to live up to his $94 million price tag. He was then loaned out to Bayern Munich in 2017. He returned for a second spell at Real in July 2019, but found himself in the starting lineup just 5 times. Al Rayyan are 8th in the Qatar's top flight league after 2 matches this season.
The world's best cliff divers have successfully defended their titles. Rhiannon Ifland and Gary Hunt were competing in the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series on Wednesday in Puglia, Italy. They both put on superb displays and clinched their respective championships one event before the end of the series. The weather didn't put in a superb display. It was getting so bad that the day's 4 rounds were condensed into 3. But they were enough. Australia's Ifland only needed a 5th-place finish to take the trophy, but she dived her way to first, clinching her 12th straight win over 3 seasons and her 5th Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series title. Hunt also didn't hold back, nailing a difficult back 3 somersaults with 4 twists to take his 3rd consecutive win in Italy and his 9th World Series title. All right, let's take a look at how the weather's looking for tomorrow's public holiday. And finally, no one was killed in Wednesday's earthquake in Melbourne, Australia, but at least one falcon has gone viral on social media for his reaction to the quake. He was caught on a camera belonging to the Victorian Peregrine Project. So there you are. A dutiful dad nesting you and your bird's eggs when the building you're nesting on starts to shake. He immediately pops off the nest to investigate, and it's his staring directly into the camera as he almost seems to ask, "What the hell was that?" that has so many people sharing this video. After a few moments, he flies off, only to fly back again a few minutes later. Satisfied that the end of the world hadn't come, he got back to the job of looking after the eggs. Birdwatchers say this is a male peregrine falcon. Males and females mate for life, and both do nest duty even during an earthquake. Thanks for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News channel. More breaking news and updates from our website, head to www.eacnews.asia. You can also search for EAC News on Telegram and at your favorite app store. Constitution Day tomorrow, so the weekly roundup premiering at 8 p.m. The Daily Roundup back with you on Monday night at 8. Enjoy the holiday. Making headlines tonight. The Prime Minister urges world leaders to make draft vaccination targets real and facilitate vaccine production around the globe. Stunning footage from the Canary Islands shows the full extent of lava flows on La Palma. And 2 boxers completely lose it at a promotional media event 6 weeks before their title bout in Las Vegas. This is the Daily Roundup on the EAC News channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Andrew Barnes-Roberts. Prime Minister Hun Sen has urged countries around the world to turn draft vaccination targets into real action and enable the production of vaccines around the world. His written remarks were submitted to Wednesday night's global COVID-19 summit hosted by US President Joe Biden on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York. In his remarks, the Prime Minister told world leaders that no one country can stop the pandemic alone, and stopping it would require a sincere, responsible, and humanitarian You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. A new container terminal at the Phnom Penh Autonomous Port has been opened. Construction began in 2019 and was completed just a few months ago. The launch ceremony was attended by Minister of Public Works and Transport, Sun Chantol. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the details.
The new container terminal upgrades the capacity of Phnom Penh Autonomous Port to 400,000 container units per year, an increase of 300,000. The terminal now covers an area of 2.74 hectares, upgraded at a cost of $18.4 million. Director General of the Phnom Penh Autonomous Port, Hei Bavi, says the number of containers handled at the port has increased significantly in recent years. Another expansion project is scheduled to start next year, taking capacity to 500,000 units. The final phase will see the port taking to its full capacity of 900,000 containers per year. If the COVID-19 pandemic seems to have affected local businesses, Cambodian exports have been rising. According to the Ministry of Commerce, between January and August this year, Cambodia shipped $7 billion in garments, footwear, and travel products. That's an increase of $160 million on last year. Prime Minister Hun Sen says pandemic-induced shocks to the production chains of important producers, such as Bangladesh, Myanmar, Vietnam, and Brazil, have forced a diversion of orders that has benefited the kingdom. Yuri Matosco, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Just 2 days before Phnom Penh's current suspension of high-risk businesses is due to end, police have raided a packed KTV in Port Saintché. Not only did they find dozens of people illegally gathering, but 6 of them have tested positive for COVID-19. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the details.
Monday night at 9:30, Port Saintché District Unit Command raiding a KTV restaurant. 49 people found partying inside, in full violation of the current ban on gatherings of more than 15 people. Port Saintché District Police Chief Morn Vuti has told EAC News that 6 of the 49 people arrested have been found to have COVID-19. The KTV family and Torn Visna Mopsara restaurant is located in Proitiar village in Port Saintché Chom Chau 3 Khmer. The owner of the establishment will now face legal action. Apart from criminal charges themselves, the other 43 people arrested now face quarantine and an anxious wait for more test results. The capital's current suspension of high-risk businesses is due to expire on Thursday. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Land border police forces and villagers have worked together to build a bridge in Banteay Menchay's Malai district, with the province experiencing severe flooding due to heavy rainfall. Banteay Menchay Provincial Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Siti Law supervised the bridge building on Monday afternoon. A total of 20 police headquarters joined forces to help. They also relieved blockages in waterways so that floodwaters would not stagnate. The Lieutenant General has called on residents, especially those with young children and elderly parents, to be on the lookout for more flooding and report any immediately to authorities for evacuation. At the same time, the Sere Sopon municipality and Mongkol Borei district administration have also issued a flood warning for those living along the area's main river. Heavy rain is forecast for the next 36 hours. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. EAC News has welcomed another visit from the Ministry of Information and staff from the National Television of Cambodia. The visit was part of the ministry's exchange experience, in which EAC News and TVK shared information about each other's workflow and production process to better understand what goes into broadcasting TV news, most especially live events. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the story.
The EAC News team, playing host to senior officials of the Ministry of Information and TVK, describing how the kingdom's first English language TV news channel works. Channel manager Andrew Barnes Roberts explained how the concept came into being and how EAC News' core values of accuracy, balance, fairness, integrity, and professionalism are woven into its workflow and daily production process.
This is actually the second time the Ministry of Information has visited EAC News. So obviously we're very encouraged by the interest that they're showing in what we're doing. We've also had a very good collaboration with TVK in the first 3 months that we've been on air. And I'm looking forward to seeing that collaboration deepen as EAC News continues to grow.
EAC News has teamed up with TVK to broadcast a number of live events in recent weeks, including the Prime Minister's launching of the first 2 phases of the Kingdom's child vaccination campaign, as well as the handover of the Morodok Decho National Sports Complex. EAC News is the fastest growing news service in the Kingdom, with month-on-month audience growth across all its digital and social media platforms of over 1,000%. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Now for a look at news making international headlines this Tuesday, the 21st of September.
Lava flow has destroyed about 100 homes so far on La Palma, in Spain's Canary Islands. The wall of molten stone is creeping through villages, putting hundreds more homes at risk, with over 5,000 people already evacuated. Thick smoke and flames have engulfed buildings as the lava makes its way slowly down to the sea. The Canaries Volcanology Institute says that when the lava does reach the sea, it could create a cloud of toxic gases as it rapidly cools. A spokesperson for Spain's military emergency unit says that might even lead to explosions. Despite the destruction, the Tourism Ministry says the eruption should be seen as an opportunity to encourage people to visit the island.
Coca farmers have clashed with police in La Paz, Bolivia, trading rocks in tear gas. Protesters say they are simply defending their rights. Authorities are pressing down on their traditional market to sell coca products. Sales are now controlled by the central government instead of local communities. Authorities are angry at a rival coca growing collective that is promising to bring growers together for progress. For centuries, people in the Andes have chewed coca leaves to ward off the effects of high altitude. Coca is also brewed into tea and considered sacred by many indigenous people.
And the Colombian army has seized over 3 tons of cocaine from alleged guerrillas of the National Liberation Army. The anti-narcotics operation took place 25 kilometers outside the Tibu municipality, just northeast of the border with Venezuela. 3.3 tons of cocaine hydrochloride were found. They have an estimated street value of $5.2 million.
You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. Cambodia's Ultimate Boxing Championship is underway. The first bouts were staged on Monday, with the country's boxers preparing for next year's SEA Games in Vietnam. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko sat down with the Secretary General of the Cambodia Boxing Federation to find out more.
Boxers have been training hard for the Ultimate Boxing Championship and say they are confident of winning international competitions. This first week of the Boxing Championship sees a variety of categories being fought out. The Secretary General of the Cambodian Boxing Federation, Bui Supuen, believes that public support can help promote and develop the sport in the kingdom. EAC News spoke to boxer Chun Prakat. We asked him how he was feeling about his match this weekend. He also had a message for boxing fans. The Cambodian Boxing Federation plans to stage 6 competitions before the end of November.
I'm very happy to fight. I'm well prepared and my power is feeling good for the match. I want more people to come and see my fight. Having more people watching also helps to cheer me up too.
The second match of the Ultimate Boxing Championship will be held this Sunday at 6 p.m. Due to health measures, the public is not allowed to watch in person, but the match would be live-streamed at the Cambodian Boxing Federation Facebook page. Yuri Matosko, EAC News, National Olympic Committee of Cambodia, Phnom Penh.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. England have withdrawn their men's and women's teams from next month's tour of Pakistan. The England Cricket Board made the announcement 3 days after New Zealand abandoned their tour of the country amid security concerns.
The England teams were each scheduled to play 2 2020 internationals on the 13th and the 14th of October in Rawalpindi. The women's side was due to stay on for a 3-match one-day series from the 17th to the first one. In a statement, the ECB says it had reluctantly decided to withdraw both teams. It acknowledged that there are increasing concerns about traveling to the region, and says it believes that going ahead would only add further pressure to a playing group who have already coped with a long period of operating in the environment of the pandemic. The ECB conceded that the announcement would come as a huge disappointment to the Pakistani Cricket Board. It said Pakistan had been working tirelessly to host the return of international cricket. New Zealand abruptly abandoned their tour of Pakistan on Friday, citing a security alert. International teams have largely refused to tour Pakistan since the 2009 attack by Islamist militants on the Sri Lanka team bus in Lahore. 6 policemen and 2 civilians were killed.
You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. He's had a bad few days already amid calls for his resignation, and Monday night just made things worse for Barcelona coach Ronald Koeman. His team limped to a 1-1 draw at home to lowly Granada in La Liga, and the stadium was barely half full. It was a telling sign that the fans have had enough. A 40,000-seat stadium with barely 25,000 fans. And they were stunned into silence after just 85 seconds when Granada's Domingos Duarte rose at the back post to head the first goal in. Some sloppy play followed, with the hosts managing to equalise only in the final minute of normal time. At the post-match media briefing, a testy coach found himself on the defensive once again in response to a question about his future.
Well, I don't think it's necessary to ask that question, because I'm not going to talk about my future anymore. And the other thing is that obviously we are unhappy because we want to win games, especially at home. But as I explained, the game today was complicated, and I think that we gave our all today on the pitch. And perhaps with a little more luck, we could have won the game. I think that needs to be considered too.
He wasn't much happier when he was asked about the fact that his team needed 89 minutes to equalise against a team that has yet to win a match this season.
I think that I need to repeat myself again, but we play in a way that is Barca. We know that they play 4-3-3, but we haven't got a lot of speed out wide because Coutinho is a player who cuts inside a lot. Demir as well, it's not a player who looks for gaps in behind, and that's just the way it is. With Ansu and Dembele, they are very different types of players, where we have more depth in the team. If we don't have it, we don't have it. And if we don't have those options, then we have to look for something else. And we have to try another way. If you don't understand that, well then, I apologize. If you don't understand me, I apologize. It is my fault.
Time will tell just how much longer his apologies are going to be accepted. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. 14 Magellanic penguins have been returned to the chilly seas off the coast of Argentina. They've been in rehabilitation since being rescued back in February. At the time, they were suffering from malnutrition and hypothermia. The penguins were lucky to have been in such good hands for the past 7 months. The Mundo Marino Foundation says the penguins were victims of overfishing. A poor diet had left them weak and unable to protect themselves against the winter weather. But since February, they've been back on a proper diet, and by last Saturday, they were ready to be returned home. After being packed into crates for the short ride to the beach, they were released in front of a small crowd. It was then just a short waddle to freedom. The penguins' rescuers say they should now have the strength to make it through their next winter in the South Atlantic. EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EAC News' audience is growing. Our YouTube channel has over 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube. It's given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EAC News' hard work and incredible achievement. She says we brought a unique voice and style to the world, but have also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to YouTube and search for EAC News. Subscribers get alerts when the daily roundup is premiering and live events are streaming. Get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. The EAC News channel on YouTube. Cambodia made clear.
តែយើងកំពុងតែព្រួយបារម្ភគ្រប់គ្នានេះចាតែតានេះក៏បច្ចុប្បន្ននេះគឺ135ប្រទេសហើយ
អូវីរុស COVID-19 បំផ្លែងថ្មីឆ្លងខ្លាំងគួរឲ្យបារម្ភណាស់
យើងដឹងហើយថាវីរុស COVID-19 ដូចជាវីរុសផ្សេងទៀតដែរបំផ្លែងខ្លួនជាប្រចាំដែលអាចធ្វើឲ្យវាមានភាពធន់ជាងមុនងាយឆ្លងរាតត្បាតជាងមុនព្រមទាំងបង្កជាជំងឺដែលធ្ងន់ជាងមុន Data បច្ចុប្បន្នកំពុងរីករាលដាលទៅជាង 100 ប្រទេសនៅលើសកលលោកអ្នកវិទ្យាសាស្ត្របាននឹងកំពុងតាមដានការវិវត្តនៃវីរុស COVID-19 ជាប្រចាំវីរុស COVID-19 បំផ្លែងថ្មី Delta មានការចម្លងខ្ពស់ជាងមុនរហូតដល់ 15 ដងនិងងាយបង្កជាជំងឺ COVID-19 ធ្ងន់ធ្ងរចុះយើងត្រូវការពារមិនទៅវិទ្យាសាស្ត្រនៅតែបង្ហាញថាវិធានការ 3 ការពារ 3 កុំនិងទៅទទួលវ៉ាក់សាំងនៅពេលដល់វេនរបស់អ្នកនៅតែចាំបាច់សម្រាប់ការការពារបុគ្គលម្នាក់ៗគ្រួសារនិងសហគមន៍ពីជំងឺ COVID-19
ដូច្នេះយើងទាំងអស់គ្នាត្រូវអនុវត្តឲ្យបានខ្ជាប់ខ្ជួននិងត្រឹមត្រូវនៅវិធានការ 3 ការពារ 3 កុំដើម្បីការពារខ្លួនយើងនិងគ្រួសារយើងនិងសហគមន៍យើងពីការចម្លងវីរុស COVID-19 បំផ្លែងថ្មីគ្រប់ប្រភេទ
សូមអនុវត្ត 3 ការពារ 3 កុំឲ្យបានហ្មត់ចត់ត្រឹមត្រូវនិងទៅទទួលវ៉ាក់សាំងនៅពេលដល់វេនរបស់អ្នក
រួមគ្នាទទួលខុសត្រូវទប់ស្កាត់ការចម្លងវីរុស COVID-19
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Hun Sen will weigh in on Wednesday night's global COVID-19 summit under the theme Ending the Pandemic and Building Back Better. The event is being hosted by US President Joe Biden on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York. Given the 11-hour time difference between New York and Phnom Penh, the Prime Minister will not physically participate in the summit, but he is submitting written remarks that will be conveyed to other world leaders. His office says those remarks will center on the urgent need to jointly stop COVID-19 in a sincere and humanitarian manner without any hidden political agenda. The Prime Minister will also talk to the importance of all vaccines recognized by the WHO as being a global strategic good. His office says he also intends to share Cambodia's effective measures and comprehensive strategy in the fight against the pandemic for what he calls resilient and sustainable development in the post-pandemic period. His remarks will conclude with the message that no one is safe until everyone is safe. US President Joe Biden announced plans for the summit last week and made reference to it during his address at the UN General Assembly on Tuesday. He says more equitable vaccine distribution and more ambitious vaccine targets will be at the top of the agenda.
I'll be announcing additional commitments as we seek to advance the fight against COVID-19 and hold ourselves accountable around specific targets on 3 key challenges: saving lives now, vaccinating the world, and building back better.
The summit couldn't come at a better time, with UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres pulling no punches when he addressed the issue of vaccines as well as climate change on Tuesday.
A majority of the wealthier world vaccinated, over 90% of Africans still waiting for the first dose. This is a moral indictment of the state of our world. It is an obscenity. We passed the science test, but we are getting an F in ethics. Excellencies, the climate alarm bells are also ringing at fever pitch. The recent report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change was a code red for humanity. We see the warning signs in every continent and region: scorching temperatures, shocking biodiversity loss, polluted air, water, and natural spaces, and climate-related disasters at every turn. As we saw recently, not even this city, the financial capital of the world, is immune. Climate scientists tell us it is not too late to keep alive the 1.5-degree goal of the Paris Climate Agreement. But the window is rapidly closing.
World leaders next meet in Scotland from the end of October to discuss climate change. Outcomes of Joe Biden's global COVID-19 summit are expected on Thursday.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has held an online meeting with UN Special Rapporteur in Cambodia, Professor Vitit Muntabhorn. They sat down via video conference on Wednesday afternoon to discuss the human rights situation in the kingdom. The Prime Minister's personal assistant, Ieng Supalit, told the media that the UN Special Rapporteur expressed his appreciation for government's vaccine rollout and had 4 questions for the Prime Minister, focusing on human rights, the COVID situation, socioeconomic development, and what the Prime Minister would appreciate most from him. The Prime Minister told the UN Special Rapporteur that the royal government's first priority was ensuring Cambodians' right to life and to ensure peace in the kingdom. He says government is placing special attention on the country's inmates during its vaccine rollout, having prepared special sections in prisons for women and those with children in order to protect them as much as possible from COVID-19. The Prime Minister says democracy has created a positive socio-economic environment in the kingdom. He says as far as the country's relationship with the UN Special Rapporteur is concerned, Cambodia wishes to have a good working relationship as well as mutual understanding when it comes to human rights in the kingdom.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Booster shots for the general public are to be rolled out from the middle of next month. The Ministry of Health announced on Tuesday evening that the royal government will start providing booster shots against COVID-19 in the capital, to be followed by other provinces. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the details.
Phnom Penh's booster shots will roll out from the 11th of October. That is for adults who were initially vaccinated at least 4 months ago. The kingdom will use Sinovac as the booster dose. Out of 14 districts in the capital, only 11 will start on that date. Phnom Penh, Chroy Changvar, and Prek Pino districts will start providing booster shots from the 30th of October. It'll be the same date for Kandal. According to the Health Ministry, other provinces will kick off booster vaccinations between the 8th of November and 16th of December. Cambodia has already inoculated over 800,000 people with booster shots. It started with frontline healthcare workers and government